following program, though incredibly nerdy, is intended for mature audiences. Viewer discretion is advised, and you probably shouldn't watch if you're an overly sensitive pussy.
W's across the board. W's across the board. For Den of Nerds, Nerdvengers alike. We did it! We did it! We spoiled the biggest Marvel secret that they ever had. I bet they were so mad. I bet they were so mad when I figured it out. Anyway, listen, Linda. Listen. Spider-Man Brand New Day is here, and today we shall be doing a full spoiler stream. Oh man, hang on. I gotta fix this stupid... Adam! Oh wait, I fixed it on my own without Adam. We're good. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Today we're doing full spoiler breakdown of Spider-Man Brand New Day! Oh, I love this fucking movie, man. Did you guys like the movie? Let's start there, chat. Did you like the movie? What did you think of it? I love this flick. Here, hang on one second. You know what? The camera's a little bit off, but fuck it. Fuck it. We ball. I love this movie. I saw it Wednesday night. I went back and saw it yesterday again. I can't remember the last time I did that with a Marvel movie. You know, like you get off of the ride and you want to run right back in line and go do the ride again. It was truly something special. I really, really like the movie. So we're going to get into it today, man. There's a lot to break down as far as the contents of it. I want to just kind of gush a little bit about the things that I liked, because I think it is a pretty monumental achievement for a comic book film, and it's absolutely crushing it right now. in theaters and whatnot too. So we'll have a whole nother discussion on Monday just about like how much money, what. I didn't know they made them that big, you know, kind of a discussion. So that's going to be really cool on Monday. And the future of Marvel looks pretty bright, I think. And I think this movie did a really good thing as far as reminding a lot of us why we used to love this so much, reminding a lot of casuals why they loved it so much. Really and truly, I think that's what it's about. Now, we will have to briefly touch on Wonder Man, because Wonder Man did get canceled. And that's amazing. I know, some of you are so mad about it. But listen, Linda, I'm going to explain it to you. We're going to talk about it because it's actually incredible news, and it's actually perfectly timed. Some people are like, I don't understand the timing. I do, and it's incredible. So we'll get into it. There are some other people that agree with me on that. You don't have to agree with me because I'm right, and they know it, so they're doing the right thing. So good on them. But we will get into it. We'll address it. We'll talk about all of that sort of stuff. Yeah, it should be a really, really good stream, man. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too, man. I love these streams after a big Marvel movie. Hey, chat, how you feeling? Chat, how you feeling? How y'all feeling out there? I wish you got a second season, but I get it. Yeah, I think that's the appropriate response, brother. And look at us, you know? Look at us maturing. You know, I can be chill about the new T'Challa. You can be chill about no more Wonder Man ever again. Canceled forever, gone into the grave. Look at us maturing. We're still big nerds, but we're maturing. Brand New Day is top 5 comic book movie of all time. I actually think it is, yeah. But do all of you agree? That's an interesting question. Top 5. Here's what I think we'll do. Today we're going to gush about the movie. We're going to go full spoilers, of course. There's a ton of that we're going to get into. I want to go piece by piece. I want to talk about every little scene. Oh my God. Punisher should be in every Marvel movie. Let's just get that out there. But then Monday, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll rank all the Spider-Man movies. And we'll do like a tier list of Spider-Man movies. And we'll go over the box office and stuff. I'm sure there'll be other news. There's some big time leaks out there right now too. I'm kind of trying to figure out like how to talk about them. There's big time leaks. So Monday and next week in general is probably going to be pretty crazy, guys. Because unfortunately, I have a guy's trip this weekend. I'm leaving later today. I'm out of town. And we got a suite at the casino. We're gonna be getting into some mischief. It's awesome. I'm very, very excited for that. But I'll be back Sunday. And I'll probably put out like an ending explained video on Sunday. I recorded one earlier this morning. And then we're just basically what I'm telling you is we got a lot of work to do next week. I would have been making videos or maybe even doing another stream over the weekend if I hadn't had this trip. But I do have the trip. It is what it is. So next week we'll do a lot of heavy nerd venging. That's going to be really exciting because there's a lot to get into. I think one of the things I loved about this movie is how comic booky it is, and not just comic booky in general, but very Marvel Cinematic Universe. It feels so MCU in the way that the old MCU movies used to feel like, and I'm really grateful for that connectivity. The things it's setting up, so many loose threads. You know, the movie ends, but there's so much that we don't know about, you know, the characters. The X-Men stuff's incredible. You know, Peter invents the inhibitor, like that's gonna probably haunt him later on. You know, we have this gene that's like bitches be crazy, and I think that's perfect. Man, I am so happy as a fan, you know, because of this movie, but also because of what I think it sets up. It truly feels like a return to form for the cinematic universe. So I'm very, very excited. Very, very excited. But yeah, I would love to know what you guys think, man. We'll chat for a little bit more, and then I'll try to get through some of these supers in a minute here. I know everybody's sending in supers, and I really appreciate it. I'll probably ignore Cool Bears because he gave it a 6 out of 10. It's like, thanks for the $20. Go fuck yourself. You know what I mean? But everybody else, I'll read your super, and you know, we'll see what's going on. And yeah, it's going to be a good day, man. It's going to be a really, really good day. So let's get into it. I guess, how about this? What if I gave you guys a chance to give me your score out of 10? What if I asked you what your score out of 10? We already know where Cool Bear stands. Yeah, 6 out of 10. I already know where you're at. All right, slow down, one at a time. You guys are going too fast. Hang on. I'm a bit discombobulated. Hang on. I'm a bit discombobulated here. Hang on. You're going too fast. All right, let's see here. 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8, 7, 9, 9, 5, 10 out of 10, no joke. Wow, that's pretty crazy. 10, yeah, wow. 8, 9 plus, 9 plus, 9 out of 10, 7, 8. That's pretty high scores, man. 9s. Funky Sam gave it a 5? Fuck out of here, Funky Sam. I mean, everybody's welcome to Safe Space, blah, 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 blah. George, 9.32. You're fucking me up with those decibels, but that's a pretty good score either way. Yeah, so it seems like very high, guys. These seem like really high scores. These seem like really, really high scores. So let me just say, oh, man. It might be, I don't know if it's my favorite comic book movie, okay? I don't know if it's my favorite, but I think it might be one of the best comic book movies ever made. I would even go as far as to say, I think it's the perfect comic book movie. Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it, because I'm trying to, like, think of where does it fall within the other Spider-Man movies. How do I feel about it as compared to other comic book movies in general? And it's like, I'm having trouble. Like, I guess what I'm saying is I can't come out here and tell you it's my favorite comic book movie of all time today. It might end up being. It might become my favorite comic book movie of all time. It's in the contention. It's in the running. But it's like, I can't come out here and honestly say it's my favorite comic book movie ever. But I can honestly come out here and say that there's a part of me that thinks this might be the perfect comic book movie. And in a way, it almost doesn't have to do with my own personal sensibilities, but the crowd. So I saw this in two pretty packed theaters. One was that special Amazon showing on Wednesday night down in Pittsburgh. Packed theater, you know, everybody's having a good time, really rowdy and fun. And then I saw it in the afternoon yesterday, and it was a pretty busy theater for like 1 in the afternoon in my small town, you know. And both theaters, the thing that I really noticed about this movie, and I think that's the reason it's doing so well, it's a crowd pleaser, man. It's a crowd pleaser. The crowd, it got so into it. The twists, the turns, the reveals. That sequence where Jean is inside MJ, my whole theater gasped both times. They gasped. And there was like, I noticed there's like, you know, there's like a lot of like younger people. There's a lot of younger ladies in there and stuff. And like, they were like really into it. Like really, really into it. I think the romance between MJ and Tom and the whole Zendaya, Tom Holland element of it, like it doesn't really do much for me, but I think that you'd be stupid to not admit that that's obviously moving people and large groups of people in maybe the normie space or whatever. Yeah, they're fucking with it heavy. It like they're really attached to that story, and they were really into it. I also think the action and the way that it's layered just from a nerdy comic book perspective is so fun that like the dude bros are having a great time. The sequence, like I thought Frank was like the glue. I thought Frank, oddly enough, was like the glue to the whole thing. But basically what I'm trying to say is what is the perfect comic book movie? Is the perfect comic book movie made only to satisfy the ultra super nerdy? I would say no. I think the perfect comic book movie is the movie that gets the super nerd to love it. But it almost has to not be full fanboy dream and has to exist in an accessible, you know, more 4-quadrant normie way. And it's almost like I guess what I'm trying to articulate is something that Marvel used to have. Even though I didn't absolutely love every little thing they did, I loved that they were able to take the things and the characters that I loved and translate them to the big screen and to this zeitgeist, you know, movie thing in such a way that people that were not as invested as me could still really enjoy it. It was like my team, or like, you know, when you had a band that you really, really loved and you wanted like people to get into your band or the music or whatever, it kind of felt like that, where it was like, man, everybody's loving my favorite shit. This is awesome. And there's something about this Spider-Man movie that's really doing that, where like I guess what I'm saying is like I personally would have even taken it further in a nerdy direction. Like there's a lot of ambiguity around this movie, especially its ending, that as a big sweaty, I'm like, I want to know the fucking details, you know? But I also understand that it's the way that it currently exists is so accessible to people. And then they can start to ask the little questions about this, that, second, and the third. And then those things can be built upon to add more complexity to, you know, the mutant saga, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it might be the perfect comic book movie, but just maybe not my favorite comic book movie. Like, does that make sense to you guys? Do you understand what I'm saying there? Let me try to catch up on these chats here, okay? Does that make sense? Do the words that came out of my mouth parts make sense? All right, Zach, first in with the gifted membership. Appreciate you. Cam and Tech, appreciate you, man. Thanks for the gifted. The Young MD, welcome back to the Nerd Avengers, baby. Zach says with a 10 spot, holy shit, we are back. Doomsday is going to be epic, and Spider-Man started us off right. We're eating good, Nerd Avengers. Much love. Josh. Nerd Avengers for life. Hey, appreciate you as always, buddy. Thank you for the 10 spot. And it does feel like we're back. Mostly because they canceled Wonder Man and there's no Disney Plus live action shows about to be filmed. Do you guys understand this? We have reached a spot where there's no live action Disney Plus for Star Wars or for Marvel that is yet to be filmed. That means there's nothing that has been greenlit that needs to film still. So we have a clean slate. Ahsoka season 2 is already filmed. They might tweak it a little bit, but it was already filmed. That is right where we needed to be. Okay, and in a little bit here, I'll shit on Wonder Man and I'll talk about why it's great that it's canceled and all of that sort of stuff. But just trust me. I know. Not everybody agrees. But most importantly, people making decisions at Disney do agree. I'm about it. Chris says, time to wake up. Marvel is back, baby. Let's fucking go. Indeed, sir. Indeed, and it feels so, so good. What the hell happened to my music? Adam! Okay. Rossi says, why so early, my guy? It's because I'm going out of town. I know. I did this to you guys on Wednesday too, but I gotta fly. I gotta fly out of here. I've got a lot to accomplish before I leave. Mostly packing up my Warhammer shit and getting ready for some nice Warhammer games later. You know what it is. Crest says with a $5 holla. Can't wait to talk about the new MJ. I mean Gwen. I mean Mayday Parker. I mean Typhoid Mary. Oh, yeah. Well, look, here's what I'll say just right off the bat, because we will get into that. I'm actually not as interested in like gloating or whatever. It's whatever. But I will say this. Not only was I right, but I was also right about the coordinated cover-up. I was also right about like all those people that came into chat that tried to say all that stupid shit. And we're just like, God, it's like so exhausting that you would say or do that. It's very clearly the studio trying to cover their tracks. Very clearly. So we were right about that. We were also right about, like, we're just on to them, man. They can't even sense me. You know? Also, yes, my dog is going crazy for scratchies right now. Nick's Tape FC, appreciate the 5 spot. Says, just showing some love. Hope you enjoyed Spider-Man. Seeing it tomorrow morning. Hey, appreciate you. Yeah, dude, I loved it. I think you're going to love it too. Have a good time. The Young MD, appreciate you with the 10 spot. Says, name a Doom verse, name a Jean, and Secret Wars. Josh, Spider-Man was amazing. 8 out of 10 for me. On rewatch, think we could have had more lore-based stuff to sauce it up. Nerdy for Doomsday, but a solid flick. Yeah, that tends to go into the direction of some of the things that I wanted more of from the movie, mostly like more of an explanation of some of this stuff. It's treated very surface level, in some places, just to keep the plot moving. But again, as I explained, it works. Like, don't fuck with it. Like, it works. Rossi says, it's great, but it's no more Shadow Lord. Good one. Zimmy says, thought it was okay, but I'm still missing something. Love the Insomniac callbacks with the combat, though. Yeah, that first sequence where he, like, is on the one street and you can see a couple of streets down the tank, going through, like, glorious, dude. Right out of the video game. Glorious. Yeah, it's really immersive. Like, it's really immersive. Caitlin says it's top 5 comic book movie of all time. It might be. Zach says Bernthal and Sync are amazing. Love the scenes from Hulk, but left wanting more from him. Movie had a lot of care and thought put into it in Avengers for life. I agree. More Hulk would have been great. Even more just resolution on Hulk. We really have no idea where that places Hulk, if he's in custody forever. Like, we really don't know. But I think, again, that's okay, because that's a thread we'll follow. That's a thread we're curious about into the future. It's maybe not the worst thing that those elements were in the movie at a surface level comic book fun, you know, kind of position. We'll talk about it in more detail in just a minute, but yeah. VTJ Products with a 10 spot says, went to my parents' house last night, told them I was seeing Spider-Man on Friday. My mom said to my dad, I want to see Spider-Man like Spider-Man. What? Oh, I like Spider-Man. She hasn't seen a Marvel flick in theater since 2002? Well, she missed a couple Spider-Mans, but still. That's cool. That's cool, man. Yeah, this movie is really connecting with normies. Mass audience appeal. It's the perfect storm, and I think people are just really messing with it heavy. Uno Dub Nintendo says, I have to watch replay because I'm not seeing Brand New Day until tomorrow night, but much love, Nerd Avengers. Can't wait to hear your thoughts, Josh. Well, I appreciate you, and I totally understand. This is still available to you on the replay, so whenever you're ready, you can check it out. And yeah, we're gonna yap. We definitely have a lot of yapping to do for sure. C-Dub, member for 73 months. That's a lot of months. Says, loved Brand New Day. Seeing it again on Sunday in 4DX for the first time. Need more Frank Castle. 73 months. Let's fucking go. That's a long time. Thank you. Appreciate the support. And then freaking Cool Bear says, I didn't love the movie. I had too high of expectations. The stakes weren't there. Felt like you've seen the trailers. You've seen the whole movie. Everything with Hulk, blah, blah, fucking blah. 6 out of 10. Really appreciate the $20. Go fuck yourself. Sasha Tree says, love the film, but Jean Grey as the villain was a choice. You know, it certainly was a choice. One of the first things I asked my buddy after we got out, because, like, dude, it was great. You know what this movie really does? It creates that conversation, that out of the theater conversation. We sat there, we talked about the movie for like 20 minutes. One of the first things I asked him was like, how do you feel about Jean Grey? Because, dude, she went dark. I mean, they, like, to me, and I said this in the ending breakdown, which we'll publish on Sunday, but they literally did the bitches be crazy thing again, and I love it. I love it. I think that there's obviously a lot of ways you could take it and ways you could think about it, but to me, just like Wanda, the juice of the character is not in this sort of like soft serve kid gloves version. The juice of the character is in the faults, in the frailty, in the rage, in the incompleteness. These bitches be crazy, dog. And that's what it is. And that's interesting. And it feels raw and real, as opposed to like trying to treat her like some, I don't know, like Rey Skywalker. You know what I mean? Like, I think Star Wars, as much as Star Wars ruined itself and it's done forever and it's dead, I think what they did to Rey is at least a lesson that these franchises can hopefully learn from going into the future. In all seriousness, her being as dark as she was and us not really knowing how to feel about that into the future is the perfect tension to hold over that character's head, especially with the Dark Phoenix lingering. I mean, Jean is going to probably in the MCU be the catalyst for a lot of anti-mutant sentiment. She and what she did will be used to justify all sorts of overreach and frankly tyranny. And her partner in crime, Spider-Man, created the inhibitor chip, which will go on to plague mutants probably for the rest of time. And Peter did that selfishly after being warned by Banner about doing such a thing. So, like, they both fucked up. But you know, with regard to Jean specifically, it is a choice, and I like it because I don't think we can play softball anymore. I think you got to go big. I think you got to be bold. I ultimately like it, even though I'm not sure how to feel about Jean. That's actually why I like it. Okay, so I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Because that's an important crossroads for us, right? Like the Jean of it all. she also killed a civilian. I would imagine she killed several people. I mean, I don't know for sure, but it feels like she had to have killed several people just with the way she was acting, right? So yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Jean Grey kills so many people and puts innocent in danger. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Jean without Scott is a no for me. Man, I was thinking about this. Whoever they get to play Scott, like, he's in trouble, dude. She's gonna eat him alive. I mean, the viciousness and also the horniness. I know it's like a little taboo, but I mean, she literally acted like his lover and kissed him and then taunted him. I mean, that's so fucked up, but it's kind of like exactly why Scotty's gonna love her. It's a little dark. Actually, it reminded me a bit of Emma, because Emma would do stuff like that in the comics where she would pretend to be Jean, or like she didn't really have a problem with it. It's all weird and twisted up, but I like it. I like it. Curious as to what more of you guys think, though. Sadie Sink played the role perfectly. Great choice. Yeah. No, I thought she was really, really good. Jean is supposed to be really messy. The ending didn't change that. It just showed Peter's heart has understanding. She didn't turn good, in my opinion. Yeah, I know. I like that. Jean is in this movie reminded me of Black Queen, Dark Phoenix, or even Goblin Queen. Definitely. And I think that we can see that is a part of her personality. Yeah. It's a lot of, I mean, the whole movie is kind of about integration of Shadow Self. So even though we don't have the Dark Phoenix, like, technically there, insofar as we know, we have Spider-Man and sort of Dark Spider-Man. We got Bruce Banner and Dark Hulk. And it's really about integration of Shadow Self. It's about, like, living with the monster. Not trying to, like, close it off, right? Because it'll break out and cause all sorts of damage, right? I will get into more super chats. We got a bunch. I'll get more into them. But I just wanted to stop for a second because the Jean thing. It's interesting. Why would the hand be working for damage control, man? Makes no sense. Well, I would argue that there's probably something else going on there. And it's really the fact that they're super villainous. So Metzger's probably connected. I mean, he spoke fluent Japanese to them. You know? So Metzger, there's probably more than meets the eye to William Metzger. And he's probably some kind of high-powered, deep state Illuminati type motherfucker. That's like pulling all kinds of strings. Did Ned say Peter Parker is Spider-Man, or does he remember now? I think he remembers, and I think it has to do with him being magical, but we'll talk about that later on, for sure. Dun, 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 dun. Some of those scenes they had Spider-Man literally in the shadows looked really good, and were direction choices. Beard's looking wavy, bro. Yeah, it's bearding. The beard is bearding pretty heavy these days. I don't want to trim it. I just want to go full on like Walt Whitman. Just have that shit rocking. But we'll see. We'll see how far it goes. All right, let me catch up on more of these chats here. Rossi says, Cool Bear's favorite Spider-Man movie is Spider-Man 3, so F that guy. Jesus. Really? The real F whatever. Gene said, they put one of ours in the hospital. We put 10 of theirs in the morgue. 9.5 out of 10. Yeah. Cam in Texas felt so bad for Peter when he realized Jean was using MJ on the rooftop. Yeah, that was disturbing. But that's what makes it good. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those funny things where because people were saying in my theater, like a bunch of people like, I knew it. Because you feel like it's a possibility. And yet there's a part of your brain that's like, nah, they wouldn't do that. Like, nah, they wouldn't do that. But that's what makes it good. That's what makes it juicy, baby. The tension. Honeycomb says with a 10 spot. Hot take. This is the best movie the MCU has ever made and best Spider-Man movie. I love the direction they took with Jeannie. Not comic accurate at all, but a loose cannon Jean has me excited for the future. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't know that I'm ready to say it's the best movie they've ever made, but it's damn sure the best movie they've made in a while. And I liked Thunderbolts. I thought Thunderbolts was maybe the most complete movie they'd made in the last couple of years. Deadpool and Wolverine is fun, but it's like soft serve ice cream. Like it's sprinkles on top. I don't want to say soulless because there is heart in that movie. Thank God. But I think we all look back at Deadpool and Wolverine and we're like, yeah, super fun ride, but like just vapor. Like there's just not much to it. This movie's like the exact opposite. This movie actually has heart that I didn't even expect. I don't even particularly like Zendaya, but she blew me away in this movie. And the way they decide, I think at the end of the day, one of the most interesting things they did, and this is something I would give a sort of tip of the cap to Tom Holland. You know, he said something in that intro thing where he said, and performances we're really proud of. Okay. And ultimately, I think what he's referring to is they came up with a way to explore the feelings of these characters, their history, and put them in scenes that are truly like what I would describe as pithy as an actor. You can really sink your teeth into them. And so some of these scenes, like, I didn't expect to really give a shit about them. I didn't expect to be like captured emotionally by it. I just wanted to see fucking Hulk and Punisher. You know what I mean? But they chose such an interesting route. It was actually fascinating. And then, like, she doesn't remember him, dead ass at all. By the way, I thought it was super interesting that even the telepath Jean, there's no memories in, like, the magic literally took the memories out of the brain, right? So that's actually different than we thought it was going to be. I kind of thought maybe Jean would have access to those memories, but she's like, there's none of you in here at all. And she wasn't lying, because MJ later confirms that, right? So that's kind of interesting how the spell just literally wiped it all out. But I found the way they came back together genuinely interesting and frankly inspired. Like, it was inspired. It's just like when Peter said, when they were hanging out with Ned and he's in the suit and he said, this is the most fun I had in years. Like, you dead ass felt that. I felt that shit. And they do this great job of like just keeping him so far away from that. And then in that scene, even though none of them really remember other than Peter, they fall back into like that lockstep chemistry of what they had when they were younger in those John Watts movies. And like, it's really clever. It's very sophisticated, and the performances are great. Like, again, I really think they're talented actors. You know, I think Zendaya, like, I'm always on the fence about Zendaya. I just have not been blown away by her like some of you guys have been. But I think she, like, really blew me away in this movie. And so did Tom. Tom gave such a nuanced, carefully crafted performance. It's just like, I mean, you know, it's great. It's great. And I guess when you're, like, because here's the thing, dude, like, the reality is, they didn't even need to cook this hard, bro. Like, Spider-Man could have printed money. Tom Holland's already on top of the world. He could literally just survive off his, like, endgame royalties for the rest of his life. But as a craftsman, as a shepherd of the character, as somebody that really fucking cares, he dug in and he worked really, really hard. And that's amazing. I mean, dude, we live in this world where it's super easy to get jaded about celebrity and, you know, people that we assume are just totally given everything in life or whatever, right? And there's certainly a stratification of, you know, those that have and those that have not. But at the end of the day, we're all just human. And I'm sure that this is the product of quiet moments, self-reflection, and a question of, what do I actually want to do? And I will just always respect somebody in that position using their own personal energy to lock the fuck in and give us a piece of themselves through their art in a way that's so obviously calculated, and it's a craft that they worked on. And so it's just, personally, just hats off to those two in particular. I think Bernthal did great. I think the whole movie's full of incredible performances, and of course it's a testament to Destin and his directing. But I would argue those two in particular, Zendaya and Tom, they didn't even need to cook this hard, and they did because they care. And even if you didn't love it, I think you can probably recognize that, you know, through the performances and whatnot. So yeah, hats off to them. All right, let's keep going here. Zach says it had the right amount of balance plus supplemented characters. Yeah, no, I agree. I think the pacing's actually great. it like almost drags at one point, and then I think it hops right into the next beat. So I actually felt like it was really paced really well, which was a bit of a concern for me. And also too, I will admit, the first time I watched it Wednesday night, we were a little bit late. I actually missed the very beginning in the montage, so I had to go see it again yesterday to make sure I knew how the pacing actually hit with the full movie, because I was like 4 margaritas deep and 5 minutes late on the first time. You know what I mean? But luckily, it worked just as good, sober, and the whole thing. So yeah, I think it was very well paced. Big Sauce says definitely on par with Spider-Man 2, probably a little bit better. R.I.P. the guy who got hit by the taxi. No one checked on bro, and it's crazy work. Oh, dude, that's true. Is that the guy who you guys were saying died? Is that the guy that died? Yeah, that's a good point. He did just get slammed, and they didn't check shit. I mean, there's a lot of people in New York, so hopefully somebody checked on him, huh? Nick P says, #1 scooper in the game goes to Den of Nerds. No, I mean, look, I'm not even a scooper. I think what happened with this situation was I had an instinct that she was Jean. A lot of people told me she wasn't, and I'm just like neurodivergent and very petty. And so that like awoken something in me, and then I decided to do like actual journalism for once. But again, do not expect that in the future. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I'd love to be that motivated all the time, but I can't force it, and I'm not even gonna try. So it's not like I'm gonna have access to every single thing all the time. It just happened to be that this was a big thing. Marvel was hiding it hella good. I kind of had a sense of how they were hiding it, and it intrigued me, and then I dug deeper. I mean, I opened phone books. I hit the pavement. I was flying balloon satellites. You know what I mean? I woke in my third eye, and I was remote viewing Kevin Feige's office. Like, I pulled out all the stops, but I'm just telling you, that's probably not going to happen again unless I randomly get motivated to do it again. But thank you. Rossi says, was Heather in Brand New Day? Spoilers. She was. She gets, like, destroyed immediately. Like, hit by Punisher's van. And he's like, you didn't save yourself that time, did you, bitch? It was incredible. It was absolutely perfect. So, appreciate you. Thank you. Hang on now. Dang, that's a lot of super chats. Thanks for all the support. And thanks for letting me know I don't have to read them all. That was really chill of you guys. Okay, hang on. Okay, Phantom Creep says they didn't spell JT out, but is Peter a mutant? I don't think he's a mutant, but I think his DNA is mutating. So I know that's like, oh, what the fuck does that mean? I don't think he has the X gene. Although, I heard a rumor that they were considering giving him the X gene proper, actually, which would be wild. That would be so different than the comics, of course. But yeah, I don't know. The Young MD says, just sent a $10 holler to beat Rossi's $2 super about Heather. Flex, name of doom. Hey, appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Andrew says with a 10 spot, really appreciate it, brother. Says, seen Brand New Day tonight. Hyped my Doomsday theory. Doom steals and enhances Reed's bridge teleportation tech in 828, leaves, travels the multiverse, comes back one step ahead of everybody, and of course, Reed. There's something to that. I don't know that they'll explain it exactly that way, but I think that it will be explained that he's ahead of everybody because of his multiversal travel and some of the knowledge that he gained from that. So I think you're onto it a bit there. Appreciate the 10, man. Brandon says with a 10 spot, most Spider-Man feeling Spider-Man movie of all time. I agree, man. Destin Mogg John Watts. Oh no, we're doing that already. We have just witnessed top 10 comic book movie of all time, only behind The Dark Knight Batman Begins for me. Won't let LARPers lie. Yeah, dude, I mean, it's really, really good. I'm personally having a bit of trouble sorting out where it would fall for me. Like, again, we'll do a tier list on Monday. I think that'll be very fun. So we'll do a tier list, rank all the Spider-Man movies on Monday. I'm looking forward to that. I'll think more about the movie. Hell, I might even see it again this week. I don't know, you know. I really, really liked it, though. I really, really liked it. That's That's where I'm at. All I can say is I really, really liked it. It is certainly in the upper echelon of comic book movies. I think it might be the perfect comic book movie. I just don't know that it's, like, according to my personal tastes, the best one, you know? Like, I don't know. Does that make sense? Is that fair? CC Black says, last 3 MCU films, RT scores all above 88%. I mean, dude, and the thing is, that matters to Kevin. Like, you know, I kind of gave him some shit during Phase 4 and 5. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry, bud. You know, I gave Kevin some shit here and there. I don't know if you guys knew this. I'm kind of an asshole. I can kind of go off the handle and be flagrant. And I think at one point, some report came out about how much he cared about Rotten Tomatoes scores. And I was like, yeah, probably not anymore after Phase 4 and 5. You see Quantum Mania, that shit's ass. But at the end of the day, it does matter to him that they have this high score. And I think what it really translates to is Marvel wants to put out quality stuff over and over again and create the backdrop and the connective tissue by which you can have an enhanced experience with these movies if you choose to. They have to be able to exist just as a movie that you go and have fun with. That's super important. I think that's almost foundational. And then there should be sort of an off-ramp to get extra nerdy if you want to. And the movies and the universe provides that for you as well. But yeah, it is great. And they do care about that shit. And look, at the end of the day, it is important that they are making things that a wide swath of the audience considers to be good. Like, isn't that, like, good? So yeah, man, it is fair to bring that up. Kendall says, bruh, 72 months? Yeah, that's a long time, brother. 9 out of 10 movie. Love the influence of social media and the gaming on the shots. Is Storm going to be similar to Jean in Black Panther 3? Give me my Hulk back. We back. That's a good question. I personally think Storm's going to be on the more mature side of things, but I'll say this. There's a moral ambiguity with Storm that's never been properly explored in the live action movies. She actually, unless I'm totally making this up in my brain, she was a part of the Thieves Guild with Gambit, wasn't she? Like, she used to literally be a criminal. Like, Storm has a checkered past. You know, so I wonder what they're going to do with that. And I don't know. I guess what I would say is I like a moral ambiguity on these characters. I appreciate what they did with Jean, although I don't know that we need that for every one of these characters. Storm can be more put together, but yeah. She wasn't a part of the Thieves Guild? Who am I thinking of then? I swear I remember reading old books where she's younger and she's a part of the Thieves Guild. No? She was a Somali pirate. Okay. Okay. She was an exceptional thief when she was a kid. Am I thinking of somebody else that was hanging out with Gambit when he was? Because Gambit's in the Thieves Guild, yeah? Okay. I got to brush up on my X-Men. She was in the guild. Okay. Well, we're getting kind of lost in the sauce, but that just kind of goes to show that there's a lot of untapped X-Men shit. So yeah, hopefully they can do more cool stuff with it down the line. Talion Infernus says Brand New Day is truly special because Tom and Destin truly understand Spider-Man. It was absolute peak. The New York credits were also truly special. 9.9 out of 10. Yeah, man, it's made with such style. I can imagine how proud Destin was watching that. It's a great piece of work, man. It's very deliberate. I think it's the kind of movie that, I mean, Shang-Chi, I already really like Shang-Chi. I thought Shang-Chi was great. But Brand New Day is the kind of movie that really kind of puts you on a break of a career. It reminds me of when Taika did Ragnarok. Taika was already kind of hot, but like, dude, after Ragnarok, like he had the world in his hand. And that's why Wonder Man gets canceled, you know? I know that's like hard to understand, but like, look, this thing's opening and might even surpass Avengers fucking Endgame, okay? So you can't have the Russo brothers, when they pop off, go do a small little independent show about a character that's an actor. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you just can't do that. Like, I understand you want the show, and look, He's really fucking good. So I'm sure it was competently made and well acted and well directed and all the rest. Like, you know, Destin's really good as we're talking about right now. But it's like, we're talking about how to properly use the resources that the studio has. If I were Marvel or Sony, I would be trying to get him to do 2 more Spider-Man movies at the very least. And if you're Destin, like, why wouldn't you do that? And the thing is, if creating another season of Wonder Man delays the next Spider-Man movie so that it's another 4 years before we get a Spider-Man movie or something, like, I think that's the wrong move, guys. Like, I think that's the wrong move. You got to strike while the iron is hot. You have momentum. Like, Tom Rothman is probably going to call Destin, if he hasn't already done this, Tom Rothman is probably going to call Destin and offer him, like, the keys to the fucking lot. This will be the most successful movie Sony's ever had in their catalog. Columbia Pictures, this 100-plus year studio. This is the biggest movie they've ever had. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is crazy. So what do you do in that kind of situation? You cancel Wonder Man. You cancel Wonder Man. And you do the next craziest Spider-Man. You ask Destin, like, hey, you got any pitches? Like, do you think you could outdo yourself here? Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think? That's what you do. Okay, Marquez says 8.5 out of 10. I feel like they could have introduced Jean better, in my opinion. Hulk versus Spidey scene was great. Dude, yeah, Hulk and Spidey was amazing, but I love Punisher, dude. Punisher's so good in that scene. Oh my God, the way he comes in, he's giving the yell, and just do, and walking him down. Like, bro, oh, it's just so good. And then that shot where Peter's pulling him and he's on the floor still shooting. I mean, it's just like, oh, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I talk about. Loved it. Loved it. Post-credit scene, keep being too vague. Yeah, the post-credit scene was kind of ass. JJ Lamont says, movie was awesome. I'm going to need a meeting in Yelena's office. Hey, I'd love to go to Yelena's office now. I will go. I would like, hello, can I go to Yelena's office? I'd like to go to Yelena's office, please. With Jean, maybe. Maybe we could all go and talk about the X-Men together in Yelena's office. Jean is the first X-Men like in the 60s comics, 100%. Oh, yeah, that is kind of nice, actually. CC Black says, new love triangle, Jean, Peter, and Scott. Wait, what? Let's not get crazy. Okay, let's not get crazy. Twist Off LV says, if Jean can't get into people's memories, she should have been the one to extract Ned and MJ's memories of Peter back out. Not a handshake. To be honest, it took me out. Yeah, I mean, I can explain that, but it is kind of contained within the logic of the movie. When Jean goes into MJ's head, she doesn't have any memories. There's nothing for Jean to pull out. And that later is confirmed by MJ herself after the letter scene. So there is nothing to pull out. Although I agree with you, I think that would have been interesting if Jean could somehow get into the deep recesses of the memory. But what it kind of implies is that the magic actually just legitimately took those memories. There's nothing to access. There's nothing to bring back. And I actually like that they don't get the memories back per se. Now Ned might. Let me just get into this, okay? Let me talk about this. Ned and Peter do the handshake at the end, and Ned says Peter as though he remembers him. Now, technically, there's a way you could read this as he's saying Peter and recognizing that MJ had called him Peter in the apartment. So if they want to, they could go a route where Ned doesn't actually remember, but there's some kind of memory coming through with the handshake thing, and then he's putting it together. But I think he actually does remember. So the question would be, how can Ned remember when Jean Grey couldn't pull it out with her telepathy, the power of love and the kiss from the star-crossed lovers couldn't do it? How is Ned able to do it? Anybody? Bueller? Anybody? It's because he's magical. He has magic. He uses the sling ring in the previous movie. The spell is magic. So somehow, some way, Ned is actually able to tap into his magical abilities And that's what does it. Yeah. So again, like, I get it, and you don't have to like it, but I will say this: it is actually contained within the logic of the world and what the movies have presented. There is no plot hole. It's just like, oh man, magic. Oh, shucks, you know, or whatever. Coach Ward says with a $5 holler, the way they introduced the existence of mutants was elite. When she kept Spider-Man alive by involuntary breathing for him when he healed was crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. By the way, guys, I'm pretty damn sure they changed this ending. Because remember, there were some reports that they did some screenings and people did not like that ending, okay? And if you watch the ending, it is a little Deus Ex Machina. Like, it does kind of feel like, oh, and then she just saves him and he wakes up in the hospital. And in fact, there's this part in the beginning where Punisher says, after Peter hits him out of the car, Punisher literally says, I'm gonna kill that kid. And I think in the original version of that movie, that was foreshadowing. I think in the original version of that movie, he kills him. And in fact, they've kind of implied, like I saw Alex Perez was tweeting about something like this, where they came out and said that they changed this movie, that at one time, Tom Holland actually hated the cut. And I wonder if that had to do with what we're talking about with the ending. And so I feel like they changed the ending. But you know what's crazy is, what saves it for me is the performance of Bernthal. Like, if you were going to change the ending and kind of throw some shit together that doesn't make sense, the one way that you could sell me on that is have Punisher cry. Like, Punisher crying is like some lever that you only pull if you really need it. It's like absolutely a ridiculous thing to do. And so they pull that lever and they have a genuinely emotional thing with him and Peter. And there's something about Bernthal's performance and the guilt that just makes it work for me. Doesn't mean it has to work for you. And I definitely think they changed it. But, I think a lot of people, number one, a lot of people are not plugged in like we're plugged in, so they're not going to even think about another version of the movie, right? But I think most people just enjoy the ending. I think that it's like, yeah, it's comic booky, it feels good. It doesn't necessarily make a whole bunch of sense. Technically, you could explain that Jean, who unlocks her telekinesis at that point, secondary mutation, might have been able to help stop the bullet a little bit right at the end, because otherwise a 50 caliber sniper shot is gonna fucking like, dude, I'm sorry, like Spider-Man would be in half, you know? So there's like a little bit of like, okay, you just got to go with it. But I also think it just works, and the performance really saves it for me. All right, I gotta tear through these chats, and we got to start actually yapping about these things. I appreciate all the support, though. Eric says, I only know the X-Men movies when it comes to Jean, so how do we feel about Jean's backstory with her sister compared to the Fox movies? I like it. I think it's really good. I'll talk more about it in a second here. I personally like it, though. Appreciate you. Jedi Mike says, Nerve Avengers for life. Seeing Spider-Man today with the West Coast fam working on previs for Wizard of Oz production. Looking forward. Okay. All right, bud. Appreciate you. William says, my issue with Jean is that they made me not like her. Intro into the MCU. Yeah, she was looking for a sis, but MJ scene was cruel. I know Marvel will do X-Men right, but she's too irredeemable. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I just think that that's a good decision. I think it's actually good to put fans like you in that position, because it's going to be interesting and challenging, and you're not going to know what to exactly think about her. And you might watch the movies like this, and you might see her do a certain thing and be like, oh, there it is. There it is. I told you, bitches be crazy, you know? And I personally think that it's more important to the integrity of the universe that you're engaged than that you're pleased. Think about that. John Staten YouTube says, I know we're still on Brand New Day, but Mahershala said he's moved on from Blade and seemingly confirmed that it's been canceled. That's a shame, but we're talking about Spider-Man. Okay, what the hell's going on here? Rossi, West Coast Nerd Avengers, MegaCon Nerd Avengers have booked our plane tickets. We'll be arriving September 3rd and leaving the 8th. Why do I feel like MegaCon is every couple of months? What the hell is going on here? How many MegaCons a year are there? Are you guys just always at MegaCon? Am I ever going to get invited to MegaCon? We need West Coast Avengers to give suggestions on where to meet up, probably Sunday the 6th, DM on Discord. Yeah, if you guys are interested in checking that out, though, go please go on the Discord and see what they're saying. Phil, what up, brother, with a $20 holla? Really appreciate it. Says, the movie made me want Jean in Doomsday, as I want anyone else in Doomsday other than Doom and Loki. But I agree with Cool Bear that Angry Hulk needed to be a lot more. Hulk was perfect, but needed more. Nerd Avengers for life. Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. I would have loved a lot more Hulk as well, but it's just so good, dude. Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to be that jazzed about Hulk. And like, yeah, of course I want more, you know what I mean? And I think we'll get more, hopefully. But it's hard for me to like be this jazzed about it and be like, that wasn't enough, you know? But I understand where you're at. Pardon me. It's all the cigars. Chris says, do you think that Wonder Man was canceled because they are going to fast track Spidey 5 with Destin? Yes, I do. And in fact, it's time to do the first clip. It's time to do the first segment of the day, okay? All right, although we're riding pretty high on Spider-Man Brand New Day, we have to stop for just a moment and address something that happened that I think is actually really good news, but technically is the cancellation of a show. Okay, what am I talking about here? I am talking about cancellation of the Wonder Man show. Okay, so this came out from Variety just yesterday. As Spider-Man Brand New Day is coming out in theaters and absolutely crushing it, we get a report from Variety that Wonder Man has been canceled. There will be no season 2. Okay, so let's talk about this. I want to briefly look at this article here on murphysmultiverse.com because I saw Charles Murphy talking about this a bit. I actually think Charles and I are on the same page about this. So let's see what he says here, and then I'll give you some commentary as well, okay? Marvel Television pulls the plug on season 2 of Wonder Man. Despite strong performance and critical response and an Emmy nomination for co-lead Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Marvel Television has pulled the plug on the previously announced second season of Wonder Man. According to Variety, a season 2 writers' room never came together, and Disney released the show's writers to pursue other projects. While season 1 was produced under Marvel Spotlight banner, reserved for a more grounded standalone series, the series became an immediate breakout hit. It still sits at #1 show on Disney Plus, with fans praising it, acting nerd charm, and the undeniable chemistry between its two leads. However, with Destin Daniel Cretton working on Shang-Chi's sequel and likely being locked into further Spider-Man adventures, it seems like something has to go, and Wonder Man drew the short straw. Yeah, so I agree, and I think they're absolutely going to fast track the next Spider-Man movie with Destin, okay? The thing is, I think the timing of this is on point. I think a lot of people were shocked by it, but it's really a 1-2 punch of, oh, he's making literally one of the most successful comic book movies of all time, one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time. Holy shit, look at all this success. Oh, and that really niche show that he was making for the streaming platform that barely anybody watches is canceled. Those things are actually put together, I think, on purpose. I think you're meant to connect the two. And it's actually supposed to be a feel-good announcement. Now, I know there's some people that really, really like Wonder Man. And I mean, that's cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to tell you. I think the reality is kind of like what I said earlier about Spider-Man as a film being the perfect comic book movie, because it gives people like me what I want, not everything I want, but things that I want, and it also is very accessible to the normies. I think we have to understand that we all kind of have these niche tastes and we're in these bubbles. And at the end of the day, the amount of people that are going to watch or appreciate a superhero show that's really about like Hollywood and you know what the Hollywood process is like, sort of like studio meets Marvel or whatever, that's just like not it for a lot of people. Like, I cannot imagine a high percentage of the absolute swarms of human beings that are going to go out to the movie theaters to go watch Spider-Man this weekend, next weekend, etc., I cannot possibly imagine a very high amount of them watched Wonder Man or would give a singular fuck about it if you told them what it was. That's just what it is. And I think like we need to start to understand that for the health of the genre, for the health of what the thing can be, it cannot be everything to everybody anymore. It just can't. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many mouths open. There's too many hands out. And you cannot possibly feed everybody in that room and have something competent that's 4-quadrant. You have to figure out the balance of how to accomplish an accessible universe that's exciting on the surface level, that is just spectacle, superhero fun, that also has the depth that the cinephiles are looking for. It has the cameos and the fun that the superfans like myself are looking for, but it has to strike that balance. And to be honest with you, if it wants to be very successful, it should probably worry more about the aunts, uncles, grandmas. And I was just so blown away by how people were responding to this movie, the Spider-Man movie, in theaters. You know, I had mentioned this earlier in the stream, but for this segment, I'll just echo the sentiment that it felt great to be in a movie theater with people that were super engaged with this plot. The twists and turns were getting actual reactions, shock and awe, people yelling things out at the screen. People were like really engaged with this. They really, really care. And it's just so obviously the case that is not going to exist in a show like Wonder Man, not in the level of which you need. This is also a conversation about resource allocation. Destin is a crown jewel. Marvel needs to probably try to get more money from these Spider-Man movies because they're only going to make 25% of this, which actually technically might make them more money than all the movies they made last year. But I can imagine Marvel's going to try to renegotiate for even more, right? Try to make their case for it. Maybe we ultimately get to a 50-50 split here. I don't know. But either way you slice it, if I'm Marvel Studios, I want as much Destin as I possibly can get. If I'm Sony, I obviously want him to do more Spider-Man. So those things and the movies themselves are so much more important than a second season of Wonder Man. And I don't even know how involved Destin would have been with that. But instead of doing this thing where we're going to act like he's involved, try to sell it off his name and like put it out there, like, no, like just allocate the resources more wisely. Now, another thing I want to say about this is we're at this beautiful position, and I kind of feel like we're finally at this beautiful position where there's not a single live action Disney Plus show that still needs to film for Marvel. That is to say that every single thing that was greenlit during the crazy phase 4 and 5 bullcrap times has been shot. It's all in the can. So there's no series, none, that still needs to film. Technically, if they do a next season of Daredevil, yes, but I actually think they might have even wrapped that. Okay? So we are in this position where there's basically like next to nothing coming out on Disney Plus. And I think that's great, because I think Disney Plus was an incredibly brand damaging thing. And although you might have liked the shows, although you might still be riding with them, you have to understand the disparity between the numbers that we're seeing with Spider-Man and the numbers we're seeing on Disney Plus. And it is just so obvious that even when your best show, Loki, has a 30% drop in audience from season 1 to season 2, something is not working. That machine is not well oiled. And I think the Disney Plus side of this was incredibly damaging. And I personally feel very strongly about this. I've called for them to cancel all the shows, right? I said that Wonder Man was a mistake. I said Agatha was a mistake. Even though I liked Agatha, it was a mistake. You should not have greenlit that show. You should not have greenlit it. And you damn sure shouldn't have been spending $225 million on shows like She-Hulk. Get the fuck out of here. That's insane. So I personally think less is more. I think you need to figure out what you want Disney Plus to be. I still think you should aim high and go big on those shows. And I think what you do is make a X-Men show with Young Mutants at the school. But that show should get the She-Hulk treatment for budget, $200+ million per season. And it should have the X-Men, it should have powers, it should actually be really good, really well thought out, and integrate with the rest of the MCU. And instead of shows like Wonder Man and picking all these little things here, this, that, second, and the third, I think you need to stop doing all that crap. You need to focus on the movies. And then when you make shows, they need to be big and good and provide something of value that the movies cannot. I think the Loki show is the best example of this because it's so good and it recontextualizes a lot of what you have in Marvel overall. That is, to me, that's the direction that they should go in. So if we get a Loki level production with a young X-Men show, that's the move. Have Destin Cook on movies. I know some people liked Wonder Man, but at the end of the day, you're few and far between. It just wasn't a good situation. So those are my thoughts on Wonder Man. Chat, what do you think? Do you agree? Are you mad? What do you think the Disney Plus shows should be from here? And don't you understand, or I guess, do you realize that none of them need to be filmed right now? We're finally through all the crap, dude. It's not Wonder Man's fault. Of course it's not Wonder Man's fault. And there might have been a world. Here's the other thing, too. There might have been a world where they could have made that work. There might have been a world where they could have, maybe had the balance just a little bit better, maybe not made some of the shows they made, and then you would have had the audience a little bit more accepting of these small-time, little character shows off to the side and your big, heavy-hitting thing. But the reality is that's not what happened. They actually pushed it so far in the other direction that the fatigue is so bad, and I think people are so checked out, that they need to reel it back dramatically. Dramatically. You know what I mean? That's just one man's opinion, but that's what I think. Did you see Mahershala Ali going off on Marvel saying he ain't ever playing Blade? I did not see that, but I will tell you this. If I was Mahershala Ali and I watched Ryan Gosling come out as Ghost Rider for Comic-Con, yeah, I would have lost my fucking mind, dude. I would have lost my fucking mind. So I don't know. I kind of think, I kind of think he's maybe justified in that. I mean, isn't that crazy? Isn't that like absolutely crazy? Like we're like, oh, sorry, Mahershala, but hey, check this out. Fucking Ryan Gosling, he's Ghost Rider, and we're gonna write the script and put the movie out before Blade. It's been 6 years since Blade. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's Go on Twitter or check Discord. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, sorry, Leia. Leia's shedding. Let me see the comments. Aw, man. Okay. All right. We'll read these comments and then we'll get into Spider-Man. I know everybody wants to just talk about Spider-Man. So hang on, chat. Oh, boy. Mahershala Ali says he's moved on from Blade. I have moved on. I'm good. You had me under contract. If they wanted to do the movie, we would have done the movie. So we're not doing the movie. They didn't want to do it, so they should answer that question. He trained for over a year for the role. I mean, that's about as salty as you can get and still have relationships. You know what I mean? Like, this is, that's pretty tough. That is pretty tough. Oh, man. Damn. So they should answer that question. Yeah, that's a little... I mean, damn, dude. I wonder how long they knew this. Was that Wesley Snipes thing real? Was that joke put in there on purpose? They're only ever going to be one Blade. Is Wesley coming back? Wesley, are you on peptides? Brother, get on some peptides. You know, get a little HRT. It's a new day and age, Wesley. Till you're 90, brother. All right, that's enough talking about Wonder Man. There's only probably 15 of you that even care it got canceled. I don't even know why we're talking about it. You guys are crazy. All right, are we ready to just get into the Spider-Man breakdown? Let me just get into the Spider-Man breakdown, and then I'll catch up on more Super Chats later. You know, we'll do more Super Chats later. These guys, man. Wesley barely looks like he's aged. I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far. Appreciate you coming into the chat on your sock puppet, though, Wesley. I do think you look pretty good, but let's not get crazy, you know? I really wish my dog would like I can't just pet you all stream, dude. Do you want to come up and say hi? Come here. Come here. Yeah, come here. Come on up. Come up. Say hi to chat. Come here. Leia. Are you shy? Are you shy? Come on. Come on up. Come up. Come on. Come on. There you go. What the hell? That was like not even a second. It's a fraction of a second. Nobody even saw you. Oh, you're going to be grumpy when I don't pet you. Well, guess what? You fucked up. Like Mahershala Ali, it's over. No more scratchies. No more Blade movie. Why don't you go talk to GQ about it? All right, Spider-Man, let's get into it. Let's do the full breakdown, man. Let's do the full breakdown. I got all these different things going on. I want to talk about all these different things. Okay, so here we go. So the movie begins as we kind of knew about. You know, you got this intro. You've got a really cool montage. Very, very fun. And a bunch of villains. They're basically taking you through the 4 years. Right? And they're taking you through the 4 years. He's really good at being Spider-Man. He's super focused on it. He's caught a bunch of villains. He gets the key to the city. He's living large. But of course, he's still lonely. He's still depressed. He's watching his friends on social media, but he can't actually be with them. And we literally go from them going to school to graduating. So there's this 4-year gap. I think it's a really clever way to kind of advance time, you know, give us a feel for what Spider-Man's been doing. And then we sort of get this call with him and this detective, and I thought she was great, and I think it's a really good element of the story because he would obviously be working with police and have, you know, a connection over there. And through her and her concern for him, we're able to kind of establish that he's been having these headaches, that he's been working way too much, that he's obsessed with work. And as a cop, you know, she's like trying to explain that, like, if you take the job home or you marry the job, it never goes well. And she has an experience, you know, being around a lot of cops, police officers, etc. You know, that's a thing. So I thought all of that was great. And then it kind of like just ramps right in to the scene with the tank. And this scene is so good, dude. Oh my God. The opening sequence of this scene where he flies off the roof, he jumps onto the other roof, he swings in, and we see him swinging as the tank is like down the street, you know, it's just like so good. When he swings in with the shooting of the tank, the cop cars flying up and him flipping around and stuff. I mean, dude, it's all time. Like, it's all time great. That is an absolutely incredible sequence. And then it leads into Punisher showing up in the van. And I love the dynamic between these two, you know, right away with the Staten Island thing and him saving him. I thought it was great. I love how Frank had the second gun and like is laughing at him and shit. And then Peter, after getting shot by Frank, basically knocks him out of the van, tells him to go home. And also, too, as I said a little bit earlier, you get this part where Frank says, I'm going to kill this kid. And I got to tell you, I think originally that was foreshadowing because I think he literally did kill the kid in the original version of the movie. So that sequence is great. We get into the prison and, you know, the tank is being controlled by this lady. Gene's jumping from mine to mine. Peter doesn't really understand what it is, but he can kind of follow it via the security footage. And eventually it's revealed that Scorpion is going to be led to escape. It seems like she's just trying to use Scorpion to get into the facility to figure out what VMAX is, to get that message that her sister sent her to help save her sister, who she thinks is still alive at this point. I thought this scene was great. You know, one understated thing throughout the sequence was the humor. I really appreciated how it's played pretty much completely straight. And then the one guy, he's just such a big Spider-Man fan, and he's having trouble like coping with the idea that he tried to hurt Spider-Man. And so he's like getting like put into the back of the meat wagon, and he's like, I would never hurt you, Spider-Man. I love you. You know what I mean? And it's just something about it. Like, I liked how the humor was used in this film. Frank's really funny, but he's not a jokester. It's just they put Frank in positions where by just being grumpy old Frank, it's funny. You know, and I thought that was great. I was like, wow, this is like really well done. I'm really appreciating it. And it's obviously very mysterious what's going on. Now, at one point in that scene, Jean tries to jump into Peter's mind. And it's revealed that she can't stay in there. She gets like a little bit of it, right? We see a little bit of that scene with Marissa Tomei and Tom Holland. But she's pushed out, and that's never happened to her before. Now, this obviously becomes very important because William Metzger sees the security footage and tries to utilize Spider-Man to stop Jean, right? But that is all really, really cool. Then we kind of have Peter touch base back with his cop partner lady, talking about the incident, looking for leads. Peter is, of course, unconvinced that it was all Scorpion because there's something else going on. Right? And so he goes to see Black Widow. And I thought this scene was cool. Yelena's fun, and it does help to make it all feel lived in. I'm going to be honest, a Bucky cameo, even on a phone call or something, would have been really cool and kind of helped to flesh that out as well. But obviously, Yelena is working with the new Avengers, and people in town know about it. Otherwise, how would they know to go to her office and things of that nature, right? So Peter being a superhero in New York, interfacing with Black Widow and the Avengers, I thought it was cool. That scene's fine. It's kind of funny that her office is this hot tub area, bathhouse. And you do get a sense of how Peter is lonely. And Florence is kind of useful in the scene as exploring how lonely Peter is, how closed off he is from other people. He doesn't trust anybody, including her. And he expresses just how closed off and alone he is, right? They also do kind of get the ball rolling on her looking into the mind control stuff, but she pretty much right away says it's probably not Red Room control. It's not that kind of mind control. It seems more like possession. Now, I think this would have been a beautiful place to put a Loki reference here. Like maybe Yelena could have said like, possession. My sister once told me that this god from Asgard was taking control of people leading up to the Battle of New York and literally possessed her best friend. And there could have even been a line of like, she punched him in the head really hard. Maybe try punching the people in the head really hard or something like that, right? So like a little bit of a missed opportunity there, I think, to connect it to Loki. But overall, really good. The plot's flowing. We're going. I think from there we get a scene where Peter is talking to the police officer, filling her in, but he, of course, is buying more flowers for Aunt May, and Ned comes into the convenience store. And I thought this was played really, really well. It really did surprise me how emotional all of these bits were. And it's interesting that you can kind of watch Peter watch Ned, and it just like all works. Like even the way when after Ned gets the energy drinks and he's on the train, sucking down the energy drink in the middle of the train, like feeling really good. He's just like stalking him and he's just smiling because he knows Ned, and it's just really, really funny. There's a tension there because it is a little weird and you don't want him to get caught. So there's a lot going on. It's operating on multiple levels. And the performances are great. I think Ned did really, really good. Jacob absolutely killed it in this role. And he's just very charming and lovable. He basically plays it perfectly because he's such a good friend that you just want him and Peter to reconnect. You're basically sitting there like, oh, come on, man. It's because like low-key, the bromance is so good. You do want that for both of them. It's like you want the bromance back. And you can kind of see how, when Peter follows him back home and then just walks up into the apartment, acts like he's a part of the party and stumbles upon the board. And you're seeing that Ned is like creating Spidey Tracker, and Ned's trying to figure out who he is because he got saved a bunch by him, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, it's like you can see pieces of the memories that are maybe appearing or bubbling up to the surface in some weird way, right? and all of it's played really cleanly. The scenes between him and MJ are really good. It's interesting to watch Peter watch Ned and MJ talk about life, and she's still very much who she was. And then, of course, Jabba the Hutt enters the picture and makes out with her. And then Tom sees it, and he has a bad reaction, and he leaves. I thought the sequence of him web swinging in the rain in regular clothing, having all of the flashbacks to their time together, I thought that shit was incredible, man. I thought that shit was incredible. I was like, that is an incredible sequence, and just emotionally poignant, beautifully shot. It was great. I thought that entire sequence was really, really great. Also, I kind of had this thought, and my buddy said to me when we were watching the first time, he was like, I would hate to be a villain just robbing somebody on the street that night, right? Can you imagine? Like, he would have fucked them up. And so Peter gets back to the apartment, and something that's set up earlier where he has like that pain in his wrist and he's having the headaches, he has the conversation with the detective, it kind of comes full circle. And the stress of watching his girl make out with Jabba the Hutt really does kind of make him snap, and the dark eyes come out. He gets the crazy headache. He starts to see the veins bulge in his wrist, which are from the organic web spinners and everything. It's really cool. And then he passes out, wakes up in the webbing outside of his apartment, falls, right? And guys, I think one of the funniest parts of the movie, and it's such a good performance by Tom, was when he's falling and he hits the organic webbing, and then he sees it, and he's like, it's that same look when you're shocked and you see a spider on you and you're like, ah! And you're like, ah! Like, try to get it off. Like, he absolutely nailed it, dude. And the way he did that was so funny. And then he falls to the ground. It's a really, really funny sequence. And then he obviously, like, you know, does a little bit of Marvel humor. He goes in there, steals the one girl's outfit, and then goes back to his apartment. And he's like, you know, obviously trying to figure out what the hell is going on. All that Evie, or his AI, can tell him is it does have to do with his arachnid DNA and the hormones, and it seems to be spiking and literally causing mutations and changes to his body, including the organic webbing, and including the, like, being overly sensitive. Like, he's overly sensitive to everything. And that was really interesting. It kind of takes you back to Tobey's Spider-Man in that first movie when he gets his powers. I thought what Sam Raimi did there was so brilliant, especially for the time. You know, it's just like, man, it just kind of makes you feel what that would be like to be overwhelmed. By the way, would have been a great place to put Daredevil into the story, but I totally understand that things move around. Maybe at one point that was an idea or whatever, right? But yeah, he's dealing with it. Not well, trying to figure it all out, and then all of a sudden, boom, Scorpion again, you know, attacking some damage control thing downtown. Peter goes there to fight him, and this is again after he's had all these changes, so he's not even web slinging very well. It takes him forever to get there, and he ends up fighting with Scorpion, but it's revealed that it's actually at the time, the mysterious villain. We know it's Jean Grey. She has possessed him, only now Peter cannot sense her. So his sensory overload from his man-spider puberty is actually taking away his ability to sense her, right? And then Peter loses it a bit. He goes a little dark side. He slams Scorpion into a cop car, almost killing a police officer, and almost killing Scorpion probably too, and rages out, goes really, really crazy. But this is like sort of that, oh my God, I crossed the line, I'm out of control, I need to fix this right now kind of a situation. That leads to him going to see Bruce Banner. I absolutely loved the Bruce Banner scene. Love the intro where he's trying to teach the class and they're all asking about the Avengers. I love the self-referential to the fandom question that she asks about Thanos and the glove and making the resources, because that's something the fandom has asked for years, and so it was funny to see that asked in the movie. I absolutely loved that the one guy in class is painted up like Hulk just so that he can say Hulk smash. Fucking amazing, dude. Like, legitimately zero notes. I love it all. I thought it was great. It feels totally lived in. It feels like an organic Marvel universe. It's great. The scene and the dialogue between Ruffalo and Holland is incredible. And I got to tell you, I really think that Banner in that scene is really, really good. There's something going on with Banner. Maybe he's been dealing with something. Maybe there was more of this at one time in the movie. Because, you know, Jean has that thing where she says, you and Banner have a lot in common. And it just seems like maybe there was a version of this movie that had a little bit more Bruce in it, right? But what I loved was Banner almost instantly gets a sense that Peter, or that whoever this person is not being forthcoming. And so I kind of love that. It's very Tarantino-esque, where there's these scenes. I love these scenes that Tarantino does where it's like a cat and mouse game and there's a lot of subtext to them. So at one point in that conversation, Banner starts to kind of have this face. And, you know, he kind of knows what's going on. He's like, what did you say your name was? You're not one of my students, are you? The library's that way, actually. And then he's like, well, how would you choose? And I love that subtext and that cat and mouse game that was going on in that scene. It's also a great way to show how smart Peter is. He starts saying some shit that even Banner's like, whoa, like, you know what you're talking about. And it shows that Peter is that level of a genius. And he is brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. This discussion is about integration. This discussion is about ultimately the monster inside of both of them. It's about the ego of man to think that man can control nature. There's a lot going on in that conversation. And I thought it was really well acted by both people. I kind of like Banner with like a little bit of dark side. You know what I mean? I kind of like Banner with like, I don't know. Like I really liked Banner in this movie. I really liked him in this movie, and I hope we get to see more of him. So anyway, we get the idea here of the inhibitor, which another interesting element of this scene, of course, is Peter takes their conversation and extends it to the idea of creating something that could be a universal inhibitor. Inhibit anybody with powers. And Banner instantly sees the moral dilemma of this and how serious of consequences could come of this. Peter is so focused that he's not seeing that. And I think this is a thread that will come back to haunt Peter later on. And I think that even this conversation between them will potentially come back later on as well. Because what Peter doesn't realize is he just created something that's going to be used by a bunch of fearful people and bigots, frankly, that will subjugate mutants. I mean, I guess we'll see how far that goes, but one could imagine that Peter will have a lot of regrets about creating that technology. Damage Control has that technology now. You know what I mean? So it's like, ooh, like that's tough. That's going to be tough for him to deal with. But it's pretty cool. And after the Banner scene, we have Peter trying to figure out the inhibitor, of course. And, you know, it's overheating, but he's like trying to figure it out. So he's kind of on the path, and he gets jettisoned out after his web shooters fall off and create the web bombs. And then lo and behold, Jean Grey is just there. And Peter is approached by different people on the street, all Jean. And Jean is, she's inside his apartment. And even though she can't get into his mind, she can get into the minds of everybody around him and figure out who he is and figure out where he lives and figure out his secrets. And so she goes in there, she finds the letter, she knows about MJ. And basically, at this point, Jean is like, if you keep getting in my way, I'm gonna hurt MJ. So stay away from me, or I'm gonna hurt MJ. And I absolutely love the urgency that happens from this scene. And Peter gets going. Jean's toying with him. You know, it's crazy. And then we get into that scene where he gets to her, gets to Zendaya, saves her, web swings, they're out there. And then one of the darkest, most twisted, and also low-key kind of horny scenes in the history of comic books occurs. And what is thought to be a scene where MJ is putting together the pieces of the puzzle of why Spider-Man saved her so much, why Spider-Man's saving her now. And she's putting together these pieces. She's solving this problem in real time. And you can see Tom, he's so happy that it's happening because he'd always hoped that this would happen. Hey, dogs, be good to each other. I'm cooking. I'm breaking down Spider-Man. Stop growling at each other. Sorry, guys. And you can just see Tom does such a great job of being vulnerable, of having the one thing he wanted so badly to happen right in front of him, and him to just like let the floodgates open and pour an emotionality into that scene, only for it to be Uno reverse carded on him, for it to be revealed that she's in charge the whole time. When she says, "Go on, Peter, hold her. You've wanted to for so long." Like, bro, damn, like that is like a sinking feeling. And his realization and the performance that he had in that was incredible. So very brutal, very dark, but I think amazing. You know, I think amazing. I'm glad they went there, and I think there's room to play with those ideas and her, you know, propensities to do such things with Dark Phoenix, man. With Dark Phoenix, because the Dark Phoenix is cruel. Like, Dark Phoenix is even worse than that, but equally as invasive. You know, like this is a little fucked up. Okay, this is a little fucked up, and I don't know that Marvel will do this in their live action, but I don't know if you guys know this or not, but in the comic books, when Phoenix, you know, is when Jean becomes Phoenix, she actually sees into the mind of Charles, and she sees that Charles had inappropriate thoughts about a young Jean Grey when she was brought to the school. It's like, ooh, don't like that. Ooh, don't like that. But like, that's the level to which she breaks into people and finds the darkest, like, most fucked up shit that they have. That's Phoenix, bro. Like, that's what she does. So it's kind of a nice little appetizer here for just how dark and invasive, just how dark and invasive, Jean can get. Yeah. So that scene's twisted. It's complicated. It's beautiful. I'm so glad that they did it. Yeah. And then from there, we go to like maybe my favorite part of the movie, and that's Punisher. You know, Peter has nowhere to go. So he goes to where Punisher lives, and I absolutely loved how booby-trapped it was. And Punisher's just great, dude. Frank is so good in these scenes. He's like, you come to my house, what do you expect? You know, and also, too, yes, he's right. Peter should have seen it a mile coming, but he is losing it. His spider sense is not working as well, right? And so it just works. The scene works so well. Frank is so Frank in these scenes. And by the way, you know what's great about Frank is like he's bipolar as fuck. He's such in some ways such a good dude, and like he'll literally say in the same paragraph, I will shoot Jean Grey in the face if you don't stop her, and also your girlfriend will be safe. I've got this shit. And it's like, I don't even know if Frank sees the contradiction in that or whatever, but like he's so broken, he's so complicated but knowable in his brokenness. It's great. It's great. And Bernthal is Bernthal is in his bag in this movie. The performances are great. The facial tics, the nuance, the anger from her seeing his family. It's all there and raging. And it's like, it's just really fucking good, dude. It's just really fucking good. And it works for me. I really like the dynamic, and I really like how Frank and Frank's life becomes this mirror, becomes this thing that shows Peter what a coward and how selfish he actually is being. You know what I mean? So just unbelievable, the alchemy, the chemistry, and everything that's brought into those scenes. It's really, really, really good. And then it leads to a sequence where he's got to go stop Jean the following morning. After even more great conversation between Peter and Frank, and of course great conversations between Zendaya and Peter. Again, these scenes are great, dude. These scenes are really, really good. All the actors on point, really in their bag, giving incredible performances. And then we get into an absolutely incredible action sequence with Hulk at the damage control facility. This is after we know that she's Jean Grey, which, by the way, I just want to know, like, how many of y'all, when you saw that, when Tom Holland was like, we have a name, and put it up on the screen, how many of y'all were like, oh my God, like, Josh was right, like, holy shit. Because I'm sitting in these theaters, literally like that meme, like, they don't even know I was the one to spoil the Jean Grey thing. Like, I'm in the theater, everybody's like, oh shit. The second showing I went to, when Jean Grey popped up on the screen, some guy in the back literally went, oh no, like that, because Jean's really powerful and shit, right? And it's also like, oh no, Jeannie, what are you doing, you know? And I'm there in the theater like, you guys don't even know that I spoiled this. Kevin tried to keep it a secret, but I figured it out. Hello, does anybody know that I did it? And everybody's like, shut the fuck up, nerd. We're trying to watch this movie. Fuck you. It is what it is. But yeah, this scene is awesome, man. Jean using the Hulk to try to smash in to get VMAX, which she thinks is maybe where her sister's being hidden or whatever. And then Peter Parker heads up. Absolutely love Zendaya, by the way, being like, you're just going to let him go on your own? I think he's going to need you. I just really liked it. I really liked it. I thought that was great. And so Punisher, takes her advice and comes in. Peter's there trying to, fight against Hulk, and immediately recognizing the danger of her trying to slip into Hulk's mind. There is this one moment where Banner says she broke something, meaning something that Banner probably segmented Bruce and Hulk mentally, and she, I think, broke that barrier and allowed Hulk to actually manifest again as truly the Savage Hulk, which was great. It was absolutely incredible. I bet you turned around and said, "Hey, by the way, have you heard of Den of Nerds?" Yeah, I should have. I said, "Hey, listen, guys. Hey, I know we're all liking the movie, guys, but you should go check out Den of Nerds. I had that shit." Yeah. So I thought this scene with Hulk was so... Dude, has Hulk ever looked better? I loved Hulk in these scenes, man. And I loved how big he was and how powerful. Like, you don't get a ton of Hulk, but what you get in Hulk, with the Hulk here, was incredible, dude. And right at that moment where Hulk's overwhelming Peter... This is actually before he snaps and goes really crazy. But Punisher coming in and just lighting him up with the 50 cal with the Punisher scream... It's the best. It's the best, man. I love it. And when I watch this movie again, I'm probably going to get so excited. Every time I know we're getting close to this sequence here, I'm going to get so excited because it's so perfect. And I love how Hulk is so strong that it gives license to Frank to use all those weapons to fire 50 cal. I mean, almost any other Spider-Man villain, if Punisher comes in and starts ripping a 50 cal, then we're a rated R. There's meat all over, picking up pieces of the person. You know what I mean? So it's kind of fun that they picked such a villain that allows Frank to go ham, and yet we're not murdering people. You know what I mean? So it's pretty clever. I actually really like that. And then that part where Spider-Man's pulling Frank, and he's on the floor, shooting still. Oh my God, it's absolutely incredible. And also too, give some credit to Bernthal here. He played a teenage girl really well. There's a couple of sequences, a couple of parts where he's literally well, good luck with that, Peter. And then he walks off, and it's funny, but you do kind of have to give credit to him. He's able to literally be testosterone filled. I'm going to scream at the Hulk while I walk him down with a 50 cal. And also South California, Southern Cali, airhead. Good luck with that, Peter. You know what I mean? The range is pretty fucking incredible. Hats off to you, Bernthal. Hats off to you. That's pretty good. And yeah, this sequence ends, of course, in a way where Hulk gets even bigger, even more mad. Peter's barely able to survive it all. And I actually liked how it like looked like Peter was going to get that heroic thing and like punch him in the face. And Hulk's basically like, no, fuck you, grabs the thing, breaks it. He's about to kill Peter, dude. And Peter appeals to Banner's humanity and actually gets Banner to like kind of, you know, sun's getting real low kind of a thing here. And I like that. I'm really curious how it worked because he says, Peter, we're friends. Banner shouldn't remember that because of the magic. Maybe Hulk does? Does Hulk remember Spider-Man and Peter Parker? Did Hulk know that Banner would care? Like it's complicated. Like I don't fully understand what happened there. But I think on the surface level, it's meant to just show that Hulk is back where he was when he was able to lose control, but Banner was able to somewhat control it, you know? So that's kind of interesting. That's like an interesting tension. Yeah, I'm a little, I hope we get more of an explanation on that. And I think we will, but nonetheless, the reason I like it is he didn't beat the Hulk. You know what I mean? Because like, I got to tell you, if Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, would have actually beaten the Hulk, then he's the strongest Spider-Man. He's the strongest Spider-Man. So I actually like that they didn't give Hulk the L. Banner takes back control. Otherwise, Hulk would have killed him. Like for me as a fan, like that's actually an important detail. Like that's something that like I'm like, you actually get it. Like you get it. You know what I mean? So to me, that was great. I love that sequence, man. I really just can't say enough good things about that sequence. I thought it was great. And then it, of course, leads to him, you know, putting the inhibitor on Jean Grey. Jean gets hit with the dart. Right before she goes out, she says, Sarah. William Metzger explains to Peter that, like, Sarah was somebody that worked at Damage Control that died, and he could feel her pull that out of him when she was going psychic. And, you know, they all want to know what's good, but Jean is now in the possession of Damage Control with the inhibitor chip on her. To Peter, MJ's safe. And that's all he was really trying to do, right? So that's got to feel like great relief. However, he comes back to the boat, comes back to Punisher's house, and MJ is there with the letter. And man, what an emotional scene. They both killed it in this scene, man. I keep saying it, but they really deserve their flowers. The writing is nuanced, but the performance is amazing, dude. The performance has so much depth from both of them. She's reading the letter. She wants to have the conversation with Peter. He confesses his love. She basically says, I don't love you because I don't know you. And I like that. I like that it didn't just disappear. I like that she didn't just figure it out. I like that there wasn't some random part of it still in there. No, I don't know you. I appreciate what you did. I can intellectualize this whole thing, but I don't know you and I don't love you. Cuts deep, but it's real. It's real. And so they end up, he ends up taking Zendaya back to her home with Ned. She's like, do you want to come up and just see Ned? And at this point, like, what I really like about this is this isn't MJ that's in love with Peter, like slipping back into that. No, this is MJ, just a compassionate person with empathy for this hero and this person that I think she now understands in a more complete way. This is just her having empathy for a human being that is lonely. And it's her wanting this human being to get a little piece of that back. Like, do you want to come up and see your best friend? And I really liked it. Thought it was really effective. And then they go up, and of course, Ned is fanboying out, and they're hanging out and stuff. Ned's asking him all these questions. And the subtlety of this scene is so beautiful because they really fall back into the pattern of those John Watts films. And the movie does this great job of piecemealing out the flashbacks of those together so that even if you didn't watch those movies, there's a familiarity in the chemistry of them in that scene. But it's so beautiful. They really kind of just like fall back into it, but it's different. And I love how, you know, Zendaya says something like, oh, sorry about him. He's just, you know, he's just kind of obsessed or whatever. He's fanboying. And he's like, are you kidding me? This is the most fun I've had in years. And I feel it. Like, I felt that shit. I was like, dude, yeah, that makes sense. And so it leads to this position where Peter apologizes to her about having, like, he apologizes to her because he kissed her when he thought it was her, but it was really MJ. And then she's like, I don't remember that at all. And then Peter understands that Metzger lied. So then that Sarah thing pops back up. He goes back to Black Widow, asks about Sarah, and then because she's a super spy or whatever, she figures it out. Sarah is the sister of Jean Grey. Then the whole movie cracks open, and to be honest with you, I could see an argument for not liking this, because it really does become completely about Jean Grey at that point. Which, like, I think makes sense. Like, I don't think you put Jean Grey into the movie and not have it be that. Like, it's Jean fucking Grey. You know what I mean? But maybe some of you guys just thought, like, she'd be, like, sparsely in it, and at the end they'd be like, oh, shit, that was Jean Grey or whatever. But, like, nah, man. The movie really becomes completely about Jean Grey at that point. And I really like it. It's different than what's come before. We get a little scene with Sarah and her. Now, actually, it's funny. Like, this is another thing I got right way early. I actually made a video that, like, nobody watched. I think I got like 14K views or something. Like, nobody watched this video. But I literally made a video all about how Sarah was probably in the movie, and it was probably going to be connected to why Jean was after damage control and shit like that. But it's whatever, you know, it doesn't matter. But yeah, this was something that was kind of out there in the wind. And in the comics, both Sarah and eventually there's a brother and a sister, an additional family that Jean has. This is used in a completely different way in comics, where basically Jean comes back to try to help Sarah because Sarah's a mutant rights activist. And Sarah kind of gets fridged right away to kind of like bring Jean back into the fold. So I guess it's a little bit similar here. But I really liked the actress that played Sarah. I really liked the scene in the park. I think it's a really well-written scene. You sort of see that they've been on their own for a while. There's a bitterness towards their mother because the mother discarded them after they got their mutant powers. They have abilities. They're learning to strengthen the abilities. They think they could eventually get even more powerful. And then, of course, Sarah is taken by damage control, and Sarah actually, at that time, must have been stronger than Jean because she possesses Jean and gets Jean to walk away to try to protect her. So then we kind of come full circle. We understand what's actually going on. Peter's trying to go help her now. We're in the facility with Jean, and Metzger reveals that he's trying to use all this technology to map out the psychic brain. He wants to take the power from a child and put it in his hands. Somebody that knows what they're doing, according to him, right? So it's basically very similar to Stranger Things, actually, which I think is probably done intentionally, where, yeah, you've got this government overreach. They recognize gifted people, and they immediately start exploiting them, trying to have the power, right? So while this is happening, because this is actually really interesting, right? This is actually really interesting. Basically, at that moment, a couple of interesting things happen. We get an explanation for the limits of the telepathy. We get an explanation that Jean is more powerful than her sister. But then after Jean realizes that her sister died in that room, Jean snaps, and we have what is known as a secondary mutation kick in. Now, this is subtle. So when you watch the movie again, look out for this at the end of the movie. They're witnessing what's going on with her, and one of the doctors in the room with Metzger says her mental patterns are evolving. Her brain waves are somehow affecting the objects in the room. So this entire time, Jean has telepathy. But when she gets under this incredible amount of stress after realizing that her sister died in that room, she gets a secondary mutation. Now, this comes from, I believe, Grant Morrison, and this is why a character like Emma Frost gets a secondary mutation where she turns into diamond form. Emma Frost was always just a telepath. And then Grant does this thing where he develops her secondary mutation, and it's the diamond form. Other mutations also get secondary mutations. I can't name them all offhand or whatever, but it would appear that's what's happened to Jean. She has her telepathy powers, and under this stress, she develops a second power. Yes, I see the casting, right? Deadline says Emma Frost is cast. Is she super hot? Let's see, who is this? Oh, she looks super hot. Oh my God. Who's this lady? Okay, let's look at this real quick here. Holy shit. Who is this absolute bombshell? Samara Weaving? Who is she? I have no idea who she is. While there's no mention of the X-Men at Comic-Con Hall H this past weekend, Marvel Studios seems to be getting closer to forming its team of mutants. Sources tell Deadline that Samantha Weaving is the choice to play Emma Frost in the upcoming X-Men movie. After meeting with a number of candidates for director Jake Schreier and Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, landed on Weaving earlier this week. Wow. Wow. What's she from, man? What's she from? I know nothing about her other than she's stunning in this picture. What other shows or movie is she in? Horror stuff? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, she's hot. She looks incredibly hot. Like sexually attractive, is what I'm trying to say. So it's great casting. Incredible casting. All right, let's get back to the breakdown, though. Holy shit, we're eating good. Okay. So secondary mutation, but on top of that, her telepathy powers grow as well. Now, even her sister, under incredible stress right before dying, was able to send a telepathic message across a huge distance so that her sister gets this. I kind of take this as trying to warn Jean in some way as she was dying, because Sarah probably realized after I die, they're going to go find Jean and they're probably going to try to complete this work. So I kind of view it in that way. Or maybe she's just crying out for help, you know? But regardless, it shows that even Sarah was able to kind of, under great stress, expand the reach of her powers. So Jean's able to jump even further. She takes control of the one doctor in the room. She has her TK powers. She's freaking out. By the way, she's an Omega level mutant, right? And this is the beginning of that awakening, it feels like to me, right? We get an incredible scene with Peter integrating his spider powers and Peter Parker's self, beating the hand ninjas. It's absolutely incredible. Love that sequence. He goes in there, confronts Jean, and what happens is Jean's ready to kill William and everybody else in the vicinity. I don't know if you caught that, but in the movie she literally says, if you take one step further, I'll kill him and everyone else. So like, yeah, dude, she's got some issues. You know what I mean? Like, bitches be crazy. She's willing to kill everybody. So what happens is Peter is like trying to stop her. She says, you still don't think I can get in your mind? And she's saying that because she just got more powerful. And Tom basically says, like, go ahead. And so I loved this, man. I loved this. I wonder how they cooked up this idea. But essentially, she goes into the memory and the mind of Peter Parker. And it's the thing that Peter can't stop thinking about. He can't stop thinking about May. And in fact, although this is kind of understated in the movie, it's the death of May that is preventing Peter from trying to reconnect with his friends, right? He says it at one point, but I think it can kind of get lost in the sauce. The movie's juggling a lot, but that's so important because this memory of May is something that's fixated in his mind. That speech, that whole thing is fixated in his mind. He can't stop thinking about it. He's on a loop. So she goes there, and we have this experience where Jean kind of vicariously experiences the love of Aunt May as Peter Parker. And it just so happens that the message that Aunt May had for Peter is actually perfect for Jean as well for where she is currently at. And the reality is they're both in a very similar spot. That's why. And Peter kind of enters in there, sits down, has this convo with her. It's beautiful. They're starting to bond. They realize the loss and the trauma that they each have. And Peter's basically saying, like, you don't have to do this alone. You can't do it alone. I know because I've been trying and it's not working. So you can't do this alone. And then he gets the spider sense and he sees the bullet coming in and he steps in front of the bullet and takes a bullet for Jean Grey. And at this point, everything changes. Jean lets go of everybody. I think it's a combination of the Aunt May scene and also Peter's literal sacrifice. He's willing to die to give her a chance. And she was so cruel, you know what I mean? But that grace is powerful. So I just think it's great because it's like a very beautiful way to have the love of Aunt May help with Jean, and also through Peter help with Jean. It's just like, you know, really was raised right, you know, like really was raised right, and he's carrying on the legacy of a really beautiful and important soul that was Aunt May in this universe. So Peter's gonna basically die. I think in the original version of the movie, he probably just dies. Jean uses her magic voodoo, keeps him alive. Wakes up at the hospital. Incredible scene with Punisher. Jean, by the way, we last see her on a bus, and it looks like she's heading into upstate New York. You know, it looks like that's rural New York. It looks like that might be Winchester. It looks like that might be on the way to Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. That's the way I took it. That's what I think is going on there. And of course, she's not redeemed at all. It's messy, and I like that. But I think that's what it is. The lesson of Peter saying you don't have to do this alone probably allowed Jean to maybe try to look for others like her and seek out companionship. And I think that's what you're seeing there. She's off to the races there. Peter is okay. And in fact, he's healing up pretty nicely, but he's kind of taking it easy. But again, he knows he can't do this alone anymore. And so the very end of the movie is him doing the handshake with Ned, and it seems like Ned remembers. I personally feel this is because Ned has some propensity for sorcery and magic, as was revealed in the last movie where Ned does the sling ring. He's got the magic ability and whatnot. So I truly think that Ned is back. So we kind of leave at this place where he has MJ and Ned back in a sense. We're not 100% sure how or what that's going to exactly look like, but you do have him back in a sense. And I think that's a great way to leave that character and hopefully leave him open for even more exciting stuff in the future. The post-credit scene, although really weak and not really all that revealing, does technically set up Secret Wars. The only thing I was confused about was like, how doesn't the Spidey tracker work off other people reporting sightings? So somebody off Earth would have to see him and then report it, and it would somehow have to work on the network all the way back to Earth. And then if the planet is identified, wouldn't the system then have to identify planets other than Earth? Basically, what I'm telling you is this. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense unless it's magic. And unless there's a Battleworld universe, and through some kind of Doctor Who magical shenanigans, Earth exists over here, Battleworld's over here, and they're all able to converse and figure it out. So I don't really understand it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe we shouldn't even think about it that hard. Don't think about it too much. But yeah, it's really not a great post-credit scene. It doesn't make any fucking sense. So with that being said, that is your complete full spoiler breakdown of the whole damn movie and everything I liked about it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll open it up to questions. I'll try to catch back up on chat here. Probably go for like 20 more minutes on stream, maybe a half hour, and then I gotta get out of here because I gotta go travel. I gotta go. I'm doing cool things. All right, let me try to catch up on some of these chats. And then I'll look at the chat as well. Do you think Wonder Man was canceled because they're fast tracking Spidey 5? Yes, I do, brother. You bothered me for years with the West Coast meetup. Your ass better be there. DM me on Discord. I am the Bendu. Oh, look at that. That'll be cool. Uno Dub Nintendo says, Den of Nerds, #1 tea leaf reader in the game. You may not be a scooper, but you have the game sense, Josh. I can't tell you my secrets, but there's something going on. Darth Snape 66 says, I thought Jean's sharing responsibility line from Ben and May with Peter was cool and will carry on after Secret Wars for her character development. Yes, I agree with you. I think that is interesting. At the end of the day, that's really the best way to frame the movie. It's interesting. I had a great time. I'm interested in where everything goes from here. I'm excited to see where it goes from. I'm excited to see what's going on with Hulk. What's that? Like, is he in prison now? Like, what's the deal? What's going on with Jean? How are they going to do it? Is Emma Frost going to taunt Jean the whole time? Because Emma knows what she did? It's all really, really interesting. So I like it, man. Moldunite says, Latvian witch wearing yellow. Ancient one, maybe? Oh, yeah. They got one of them going on? Man, Marvel's just not stopping, huh? Marvel's just not stopping. Where are these yellow witches at? Where are these yellow witches at? That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. I like that. Oh, wow. Yeah. The yellow one. That's probably the one they told me was golden, huh? Gonna be pretty interesting, guys. We got a lot to talk about with Doomsday, too. A lot of crazy leaks, a lot of crazy theories. It's sounding cooler and cooler, man. It's sounding cooler and cooler. Purple Funk says, might be in the minority, but I might like No Way Home a little bit more than Brand New Day. Still dug it. I just wanted a little bit more mutant setup with Jean at the end. I totally get that. I think it's left lingering on purpose, but I totally get it. My theater was rocking it, packed at 4 p.m. I spoke to strangers around me. No one left until the credit scene. The hype was thick. Peak MCU vibes, man. Yeah, it really does feel that way. It does feel peak. It does feel like we're back. I think they need to cook this hard every single time out. You're not always going to like have everything come together as perfectly as it did with this film. But think about it. They were very bold. They took very bold steps. They took risks. They put crazy characters in here. They had a lot of fun with comic book shit. This is the direction. This is what they need to do. More and more of this. And I think we will truly be back. Appreciate you, John. Warped Space says, I fucking love Spider-Man. It's probably the best movie I've seen in several years. Jean was a goddamn standout, and Act 3 was fucking amazing. Yeah, I totally agree with that, brother. I totally agree with that. I'm glad you had such a good time. Nick D-Boy with a 10 spot says, sup, Josh? Been a while. I got to say how much I appreciated this movie. Though it didn't have the biggest wow factor as far as surprises, I think cinematically it's the best Spider-Man movie. It's certainly up there. I'll rank the Spider-Man movies on Monday, and I got to kind of think about where I want to put this movie because there's so many good Spider-Man movies, but this is a great movie, dude. This movie's brilliant. Like, it might be the perfect comic book movie, to be honest. C-Dub says, when Hulk grows up, something else grew. Bricks. What? Rossi says, much like Ned, Joshua is also magical. I will not confirm nor deny that I have magical psychic abilities that I use to figure out what Marvel's doing. Coffee Shark, welcome back to the Nerd Vengers, baby. Braden says, not to interject, but we just got Emma Frost casting. Yeah, that's pretty good. She's pretty hot, bro. Bro, she's so fucking hot, bro. Oh my God, our Emma Frost is super hot. We might actually be back. I gotta tell you, Emma Frost is so hot that maybe, you know, a certain storm, I don't know, maybe we'll be okay. Bricks Prime says Hulk is separate from Bruce Banner. He didn't lose memory. Yes, I understand that. I actually think you're right. I think that's a good thing to bring up. Millsy says, would be funny if the post-credit scene is Deadpool using the tracker for Toby as to destroy his universe. I like that. That is pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I actually like that. That would be really cool. The Savior said, what up, Josh? Hope all is well. Been busy. I talked to the U.S. Army recruiter in June, so hopefully we get the ball rolling with that. Can't wait for the new Warhammer games. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you. And I hope that you get that rocking as well. Don't worry. Warhammer's coming. Even though this fucking chat doesn't understand. Warhammer's the future, baby. Warhammer's going to bring us home. Should we just make it a Warhammer stream? Okay, anyway, Kendall says, hang on. I also looked for symmetry between Peter and Tony. Here with Peter creating Inhibitor, he's sparking mutant problems like Tony sparked the Infinity Saga. I think you're right. Yep, I think you're right. I think that's going to be a big lingering issue. 100%. Appreciate you, brother. Tony says, it was a 92 out of 100 for me. Only thing I wish was Yelena's scene was more serious. Needed Destin on every project. Yeah, he's absolutely incredible. I only have one problem with the movie right now. Can anybody guess the one thing that Josh didn't like in the movie? Anybody? I bet some of you could guess. What was maybe the one thing that Josh didn't like in the movie film? Hmm? 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 It was when MJ said, oh, before I switched majors, I actually studied this. So super genius, one of the smartest people in the Marvel Universe. Would you mind stepping away from the chair so that I can look like competent lady in scene? I was like Punisher. I was like I started like screaming like that on the screen. But you know what? It's okay. At the end of the day, we're not going to all love every little bit of the movie, you know? So, yes, as a card-carrying chud, I found that scene a little bit disagreeable. But other than that, it was chill. You know what I mean? Other than that, it was a really chill movie. Okay, Jay Shep says, only gripe, they glossed over the gene tank destruction, blows up damage control building, makes two people nearly jump off buildings, and they just go, she's good now. Yeah, no, totally. That's totally fair. The only thing I would tell you is that I think that is a tension that is needed. And I actually think it's okay that she's left in that position, you know, because she's not fully altruistic. There is a dark side there. She did cross some lines, you know? So, totally agree. Ibsy says, Hulk has been on those Guatemalan steroids for sure. What a movie. Bernthal MVP, best live-action Spider-Man movie in my opinion. Is it the best live-action Spider-Man movie? I just don't know. I have to kind of think about that. But did I love this movie? Yes. Do I want to see this movie again as soon as possible? Yes. Do I think it's a triumph? Yes. Do I think it's maybe the perfect comic book movie? Yes. Do I think it's the fucking blueprint for how they should cook from here on out for every movie? Yes. Is it the best Spider-Man movie, though? I'm going to need to think about that. I'm going to need to smoke a few more cigars and just think about that. We'll talk about it on Monday, okay? Pelmuni says, with a 10 spot, really appreciate you, says the handling of Blade and Wonder Man and Kang, do you think it seems racist from Disney and Marvel? I know we need those characters, but still kind of sus. Much love. I don't really think so, man. I mean, I understand that that's probably, you know, going to be an interpretation that's out there for sure. I don't really think so, but I will tell you this. I mean, maybe you won't like this answer, but this is just honestly how I feel. I actually think it's a little bit racist to like kind of put extra care or some kind of like pedestal care package buffer on characters of color and try to do this thing where we're like, oh, well, this one like really matters because it's our black vampire movie. And I actually think a little bit of that energy unfortunately sets them up to look a little bit bad when it happens. I don't know if does that make sense at all? It's almost like a sort of liberal version of racism to be like, oh, dude, this character like really fucking matters because we need some black characters around here. And unfortunately, like, you're going to end up looking foolish when you realize that there's just like a lot of other shit that matters way more than that. Do you know what I mean? So I almost feel like they sold the wrong idea about not just Blade, but in general representation. You know? But what they're doing now is no, I don't think it's racist at all. I think it's what's the word? I think it's just making the right calls. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know exactly what happened with Blade, but it obviously didn't go very well. And at the end of the day, like, if it's going to be just a big fucking mess and there's all this drama and tension and bullshit there, maybe your best bet is to just cut ties. And in fact, to know that that's the right thing to do and not do it because the homie's black, what is that? That's weird. Like, that's weird to me. You know what I mean? But I totally understand what you're saying. The Exodus says, was the inhibitor supposed to call back to Doc Ock? What? You mean like from No Way Home, like with him getting inhibited? I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, potentially, maybe that's kind of a through line there with the tech and everything like that. And it also kind of shows also, too. You know, I had not even considered that, but that's kind of interesting because when you think about it, what was Peter trying to do in the previous movie? Rehabilitate the villains almost at his own detriment. And in fact, his idea of rehabilitating the villain leads to the death of his aunt. Yeah, I don't know. I can't quite conceive of how that was operating in Peter's mind in this movie, but it is kind of interesting. Like, I do kind of like where your head is at with that. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. All right, chat, let's hang out for just a couple of more minutes, then we're going to get on out of here. We're going to get on out of here. Because I got to go, man. I'm going to the casino. I'm going to lose a bunch of money. I mean, I'm going to win a bunch of money tonight. Hell yeah. Okay, fine. I'll turn the mic down a little bit. Is the mic too loud? You could also turn your volume down. I don't know if you know this, Purple Kush, but you have a volume dial or some kind of control on the device that you are watching me on. And if you turned it down a little bit, it might fix some of those problems you're having. B-Town Fritz says, in MJ's defense, she didn't exactly solve the issue, just helped Peter think of something he hadn't. Yeah, that's absolutely true, yeah. You gambling our donations, bro? Yeah, no, I fucking am. I don't know what you want me to say. I damn sure am. I'm going to have some drinks. I'm going to have some smokes. I'm going to do some gambling. Oh, we're getting wild with the boys this weekend. We're getting wild with the boys. I'm going full Jean Grey on them. I can't believe how hot our Emma Frost is. Well done, Kevin. Kevin. Well done. Chat, what else is going on? What do you want to talk about? What do you want to say? Expo City says, one thing I wasn't a fan of was when the guy got hit by the car and we didn't see Peter see if he was good. It just cut to them swinging towards MJ. True. But I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, he's trying to do everything he can at that point to save her. Catwoman, Spider-Man, best duo. Wait, what? Cyclops has to choose between Jean and Emma. Will have a hard choice. Yeah. It was just a flesh wound. Maybe. I love the thwip reference when Peter was using the new web shooters. Yeah, true. There's a lot of love in this movie, man. A lot of attention to detail. Do you think the MCU is going more so to crossover movies to deal with the secondary characters like Wonder Man? I think so, and I think that's the way to do it. Yeah, man, I think so, and I think that's the way to do it. I also loved, and this was something, Jeremy Johns brought this up in his non-spoiler review, but I think it's really on point. The movie is so comic booky. You don't need to understand how Scorpion got his suit and how it all works, right? But real talk, like Marvel used to do that. They used to like need to explain all that shit. Like Iron Man 1 is a lot of like just explaining how he has like integrated circuits and fucking the shit works with the arc reactor, right? And then even the first Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland, it's damage control, and they're explaining how after the Battle of New York, they're using alien tech to build their weapons. And I'm not against that kind of stuff, but I feel like we've moved past it. Maybe in the first 5 to 10 years of Marvel, you needed that. You don't need that shit anymore. Just put them in their comic book costume. It doesn't need to make, you don't have to explain it. Like, let Scorpion be Scorpion. Let Boomerang be Boomerang. Let Tombstone be Tombstone. Like, just let them be the comic book stuff and then have comic book fun. That's what I think you need to do. The Exodus says, Marvel missed a multiverse opportunity. Get permission from Sony Columbia to use the Bram Stoker's Dracula likeness and hire Gary Oldman to face Blade. That would be very fun. I'm not going to lie. That would be very fun. But it seems like that's probably not going to happen. Looking like the Russos. Wait, what? Looking like the Russos are getting their director's cut of Doomsday with a girthy length time of 340. What? Where's that coming from? Why was Shang-Chi hot garbage and Brand New Day so good? Oh, I really like Shang-Chi, actually. I think it's really good. Is that actually real Doomsday length? I gotta look at this now. You guys are crazy, man. Is that real? Don't play. Damn, she's hot. Samara. I don't see nothing about the director's cut of Doomsday. How dare you lie to me? How dare you lie to me? Don't lie to me! I think it would have been perfect if they killed Spidey. It would have made the credit hit so much harder. That being said, I still loved it so much. Yeah. I think that they wanted kids to see the movie. You know, they wanted to be family friendly, and ultimately that ending, if it's real, that did test poorly. So they had to do what they had to do. They had to do what they had to do. But hey, man, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the love, the support today. Thank you for the questions. Hope you had a good time on this stream as we recapped the entire movie and went through it all. I really like this movie, man. I really like this movie. And I think it puts Marvel in a very interesting position. I think a lot of people are going to be fucking with Marvel. And if they can just kind of keep this going, they might be back in the bag the way they once were, which is kind of incredible, actually. It's actually incredible that they might actually be able to do that. You know, Star Wars has no chance. I highly doubt DC will get it done. And there were times when we doubted Marvel. But holy shit, they cooked. People are happy. Like me, I'm very, very happy. Never call anyone in chat a gooner again, Josh. I mean, I will. I will, though. But yeah, thanks. Thank you. What even is Star Wars? Dude, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Hard to be the best when Sam Raimi is the best director to direct Spider-Man. Also, good as Punisher is the lack of JJ is noticed, but the movie setup is good interaction between Spider-Man and JJ. Yeah, JJ would have been a great addition here for sure. But, yeah. Did Gene allow MJ and Ned to remember, or did a handshake really break the spell? I don't think it's just the handshake. I think Ned has magical abilities. I don't think it breaks the spell. I think Ned could see through it because he has magic and the power of friendship. Yeah. Yes. All right, everybody. Well, yeah, I did get a popcorn bucket. I just got the tin, though. I just got the tin. All right, I am going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys once again. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to get on out of here. We'll be back at it on Monday. I will have a big video for you guys on Sunday. No clips, though, over the weekend because All we did really today was talk about the Wonder Man cancellation, which I guess I could throw up as a clip. And then we did talk just about the whole Spider-Man thing. So that's just what today was. And I thought it was awesome. I was really looking forward to yapping about it. So thanks for hearing me out and hearing me yap. And I hope you had some enjoyment and some fun on the stream too. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate you. As I always say, I hope you, that's right, you are having an awesome and day nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh man, another happy landing. Oh, Perez, yeah, I would definitely be interested in that. I would definitely be interested in that. I just gotta set up a P.O. box soon, so get that handled. But yeah, appreciate you. Hey, thanks guys, much love, man, much love. Big video dropping on Sunday explaining the ending, and next week on Monday we'll rank the Spider-Mans. We'll talk about that opening box office, and we'll probably touch on some of the Doomsday leaks as well. I would imagine we'll go over a lot of that next week. But dude, like we're in the zone now. We're headed towards D23. We're headed towards Avengers Endgame re-release, and then ultimately Doomsday. So we've got a lot of MCU rewatching to do, which we'll do as a community. I'll be doing some of those breakdowns soon. So we got a lot going on, man. It's bright times ahead. Good times ahead. All right, everybody, I'm gonna get on out of here. Much love. Do me a favor on your way out, would you? First up, open up your third